I won't say much about Diane Davis, except that I've gotten to know her over the last couple of weeks. She is very, very attentive. From what I can, and you can learn and glean things from folks, not ever having been in their presence, but feeling their presence. And so, what I feel from her, and what I've read, and what I have discerned, if you will, is that she is a lover of the Lord, that she is resilient, that she is strong, that she is triumphant. She will tell you more about herself, but she's got a story to tell that I would venture to tell you that it will change your lives. It will make you want to sit up straight and lean in, perhaps call somebody, tell somebody, share with somebody, and it gives real meaning to that old that spiritual that we sing, How I Got Over. My soul looks back and wonders how I got over. Without further ado, I give to you our presenter, Miss Diane Davis. Diane?
Good afternoon, good morning to wherever you may be. I come to you this afternoon from the Art Museum area of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the city of brotherly love. First and foremost, I give thanks to God, our God, for allowing me this opportunity to be with you this afternoon. I am humbled and I am grateful. I am so grateful. Thank you to Reverend Dr. Roderick Beelan. Thank you to our pastor, Reverend Carolyn Cavanis, the first woman pastor of Mother Bethel AME in Philadelphia since 1792. Oh, thank you, Sister Patricia Wright. I know we've only been together a couple of weeks, but I feel like I know you. You have been such a guidance to me, and I'm so grateful to you. Thank you. I must give a shout out to my husband, Ron Davis, who is my anchor and my rock, who has walked this journey with me. So, who is Diane Davis? Who is she? I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a writer, I'm an author, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a consultant, I'm a counselor. Oh my, good grief, good grief. I love that name. I love that title. Grief has so very many stages: denial, disbelief, depression, shock, fear, isolation, acceptance. Grief, it can be complicated. There is no straight line. I'd like to share with you this afternoon my journey going through grief, and I still grieve. Let me share with you why I wrote my book, Tragic Victory: Learning to Navigate Life in Tough Times and Turning Tragedies into Victories. Enduring the pain of grief is the most difficult challenge of human life. But there is always love and there is always hope. I lost both of my children. We lost my son, Scott Stephen Johnson, at age 32. What an incredible young man. A UC Berkeley graduate. He spoke 4 languages. He loved the bohemian town at that time of Berkeley, California. He rode a red scooter. He loved music. He played the guitar. When he graduated, he went to work for a stockbroking company. He was a stockbroker. Being a stockbroker brings a lot of stress. And he began to drink. And a mother knows their child. You know, you look and you say, what's going on? There was denial And I thought, ooh, we've got to nip this. We've got to take care of it. And so it went on for some time. And then he agreed to go to rehabilitation. On the morning of December 27, 2002, 2 days after Christmas, was when we were to go to the rehab center. But early that morning, before anyone had awakened, he decided to take a drive. We lived in the San Francisco Bay Area across the Golden Gate Bridge in Marin County. He got in his car and he took a drive to Stinson Beach, California. The weather that day, it was raining sideways, it was tumultuous, it was crazy. And he went for a swim in the ocean. His body went down, it came up. It went down, it came up. It went down, it came up. It went down. And it did not come back up. There was a witness. Oh my gosh, what do you do? We searched, we looked. There were helicopters, there were all kinds of help that we tried to find Scotty. But we didn't find him. He was just amazing. And so I'll move on to the loss of our daughter, my daughter, Diane Johnson, who was absolutely stunningly beautiful. She had a voice like a nightingale. She loved to sing. But she didn't always make the right choices of friends, and especially of boyfriends. She and her boyfriend, they decided to move to Hawaii, of all places, against my better wishes. I'm like, how do you move to Hawaii? What are you going to do? How do you work? 1,000 questions that a mother would have. Young people don't always listen as much as we try to talk to them. And so they moved. They lived pillar to post. It was a difficult time. She got pregnant with our grandson, Taj, who is simply amazing. And I didn't know that the boyfriend was as bad as he is, but she got pregnant. We flew back and forth to Hawaii a number of times to be with her, to try to give her direction. But her drug of choice was cocaine. She had Taj, and at age 5, Taj got up to go to preschool and found his mother dead on the couch. Mommy, wake up. Mommy, wake up. Mommy was gone. Taj picked up the phone that was on the floor by the couch and somehow called her boyfriend and said, Mommy won't wake up. He pulled the chair up to the door and unlocked the door so the boyfriend could come in. And I got the dreaded phone call. Hawaii is about 6 hours difference in time from Philadelphia. I was personal training a very dear friend at that time, and I got that dreaded phone call that Shemaine did not wake up. She had passed away. I mean, what a dreadful call. What do? You're blinded. You're blinded with fear and sight and which way do you go? It was snowing sideways in Philadelphia. This is February 10, 2010. Much like the past storm we've had a couple of weeks ago here in Philadelphia, I couldn't get a flight out to Hawaii for 2 days. I thought that Shemaine would be able to stay with, I thought that her son, Taj, would be able to stay with the boyfriend until we could get there. Well, after a few phone calls, I find out that the boyfriend is a crackhead and he's got a record. So Taj can't stay with him. Shemaine was with a rehabilitation center, the Salvation Army Rehabilitation Center, and she had the most wonderful chaplain, Chaplain Jan, that we are in touch with today. I called Chaplain Jan, almost hysterical, and she said, we will take care. She and her husband would take care of Taj until we could get there. I was so humbly grateful. We finally get to Hawaii to bring Taj back to Philadelphia, but it wasn't easy at that time. We had to identify ourselves. We had to give proof of the fact that we were family. We had to go through all these changes, but we were able to bring Taj back to Philadelphia. He was 5 years old. He had never seen snow. And then I'm thinking, and my husband and I are thinking, oh my goodness, what do we do? How do we find schools? Which way do we go? How do we turn? But through family, friends, and neighbors, we found the first school for Taj, Russell Byers Charter School. They were so accepting to Taj and listening to his story and so helpful. Taj attended Russell Byers Charter School from kindergarten to 6th grade. Shortly after he left, it went to 8th grade, but he went to 6th grade. After 6th grade, we sent Taj to a friend's school, Green Street Friends School. Now, a friend's school is a little bit more open. You could call it by first name, and he did great. He's very resilient. After 8th grade, we had to interview for high schools. We interviewed at St. Joe's Prep. We interviewed here. We interviewed there. We ended up at Roman Catholic High School. That is much more strict. But he attended 4 years at Roman Catholic High School, and he is now a junior at Cookstown University. We are so very, very humbled and grateful. How do I get through this grief? How do I walk this journey that we are on? First, I reach out on that long arm of faith, and I ask God to order my steps every day. I have a husband that is truly amazing. We are members of Mother Bethel, AME, American Methodist Episcopal Church. We've been members there for a number of years. My husband is a trustee at Mother Bethel. We raised Taj at Mother Bethel. He was an usher. He belonged to the youth organization. Oh my goodness. Sister Joetta Cryer is just so incredible and with Taj and guided him through the youth group. I share with you now that Taj has a church on the Cookstown, just off the Cookstown University campus, the real church. It's non-denominational. He is very involved with the church. And we are humbly grateful for that. When he was a freshman, we went up to the school to visit him, and he said to us, he calls me Mimi, and he calls my husband Grand Bear, because my husband is a Grand Bear. And he said, do you want to go to my church? And Ron and I looked at each other and we're like, of course we do. Of course we do. And he is still with the real church at Cookstown University. What else guides me? Faith. We pray every day. We said a prayer with Taj every morning before he would go to school to keep him safe and in God's grace. I tell you, being a personal trainer has been so important to me because all my life I've been into fitness. And there will be what has fitness done for me? It has kept me strong. I do my walks. I love walking. I used to be a runner, but I can't run anymore because the knees are gone. But I walk with nature. I walk with a friend. I pray to God to give us guidance. And I have a presentation that will not be completely shown, but it's a daily walk with exercise and nutrition about what walking does for you and how it improves your mood and how it facilitates your weight loss and it strengthens your muscles, and all of that is so important. So physical activity is was very important to me. I went into isolation for a good while after, especially after losing my daughter. It was like, it's one thing to lose one child, but then you lose both. How do you get through this? How do you get through this? And so all I really wanted to do was to work out, say my prayers, close the door. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I did that for a few months, and finally my husband said, you got to come out of this. We've got to talk to someone. And I share with you that we have the most incredible psychologist. He's more than a doctor. He's more than a psychologist. He's a friend. He's a part of our family. We've gone to him for the last 20 years. We see him a couple of times every month. He welcomes us with open arms, and we can share our feelings with him. We can share, sometimes I have tears, and he will just gently guide us with thought and direction. I share with you that I lost my mother at age 52. She loved those children of mine. She loved them so much. I lost her to breast cancer. Back in the day, they didn't have the healing for breast cancer that they do now. But after losing my mother, I started journaling. It helped me to write things down. I needed to turn to something, so I journaled. Sometimes it would be one word, sometimes it would be 3 pages, sometimes it would be a sentence. But journaling helped me. Writing is very cathartic for me. That's why I share with you, I wrote my book, Tragic Victory, Learning to Navigate Life in Tough Times. Turning tragedies into victories. I share with you my journey because it gives me strength if I can touch one of you in some way, and to know that God is with us. He is with us. He will guide us. He will lead us through. There are times when I thought I might walk into walls, that I wouldn't make it. But having God's strength, my husband, family, I share with you this morning with all of my greatness to you to share this journey. And I'm writing a sequel to Tragic Victory. Say your prayers for me. I'm hoping that this will come into fruition. And so I am so honored and grateful to know that family is with us. I feel like you are my family. I've not met Sister Patricia Wright, but I feel like she's my sister. I have not met almost any of you except for my Mother Bethel family, except for my I have to give a shout out to, oh my goodness, I shouldn't start to mention names, but you've all been so gracious with me and humbling and been so supportive of me. And I can't give enough thanks because each day I need your prayers. I ask you to be with me. and to help me go forward. I miss my children so very much. I only wish that they were with me, but they're not. But I feel their presence. I feel their voices. I hear them, and I know that they are with me. I know that by writing, by prayer, about reaching out on that long arm of faith, it makes all the difference. I have a couple of, of prayers that I keep with me. It's oh my goodness, it's Psalms. Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and He will strengthen thine heart. And there's another one. I believe it's with Philippians. Uh, I gain strength through Christ that leads me, and I'm not saying this correctly, but I believe that you know which way I'm trying to go. And so I just ask for your guidance. I ask for your direction and your prayers for me as I walk through this journey of the loss of my children. And there is another phrase that I want to give to you, and it's called don't quit. Because when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're traveling, it seems all uphill, when funds are low and debts are high, and you want to smile, but you just sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is so strange with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a failure turns about when you might have won had you stuck it out. Don't give up, because sometimes that pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, with a silver tint, with a cloud and a cloud of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick with that fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse. You must not quit. Thank you, and let me open this for questions to you, and I can go back and share more things with you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your heartfelt story, your life, your lived experience. And as we have been discussing and sharing and having these sessions for the last 3 times, we can feel you. We can feel you over the lines. There are people on this call from South Africa to South Carolina, from all across our connectional church and across our circle of friends. And I could look for those who have their cameras on and tell that the poignancy of your story touched each and every one of us. But the resiliency of your spirit gives us hope that we too can make it through as you have. And so I heard you say, as we did all, that there are so many avenues to this strength journey. You are the exercise guru, and we know that sometimes when we start, it's painful, but the longer we do it, we still have aches and pains and tweaks, but it gets a little easier, right? And so the exercising of our faith, utilizing things such as exercise, literally exercise, but also therapy. Therapy is not always something that we come to easily or that we want to acknowledge or admit. Talk, if you will, if you can share with us. I don't know how you came to therapy, or did you have to be persuaded, or how would you tell someone else or advise someone else to avail themselves of the use of therapy?
You know, I share with you that therapy has been incredibly wonderful and amazing for me and for my husband. We go together. Let me take you back a little bit. And someone had put in the chat the name of my book, and we'll do that, Sister Patricia. It is Tragic Victory.
Okay.
But when my mother died, and I'm going to be very honest with you in this session. I said to my father, I said, Daddy, uh, I need someone to talk to. And my father looked at me and he said, only if you're crazy will you go to a psychiatrist. And so African Americans don't always take easy to therapy. And I must admit, it's got to be the right fit. It has to be the right fit. At that time, I didn't see a therapist. I tried different people, but it wasn't the right fit. Coming to the doctor that we have now, I called our personalized care physician and I asked him if he could guide us to a therapist, a psychologist. And he said, I'll give you 3 names. He gave us, and I'm a heavy feeler on the Myers-Briggs. Oh, I feel it's, I just feel. And the first name I called and talked to, and at that time, believe me, I couldn't even get through a conversation without bursting into tears. So they probably thought I was crazy, which I felt like I was. So the first name didn't set well. The second name, maybe I needed someone to feel what I was feeling. But the third name, it's a husband and a wife. And I spoke to the wife first. And she said to me, I think I'd like you to speak to my husband because he can handle this. And the next day, I called this psychologist and we talked, and it was that feeling that this will be the right person for us to be with. It was that feeling. And that feeling is carried on for 20 years plus. That's why I believe finding the right fit is so important, because you can go to somebody and my father was my parents were Baptists. They were churchgoers. My father was a deacon. My mother had the voice of a nightingale. She was an alto. She sang in the choir. But you talk to your pastor, but you don't go get any other kind of help, because that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's how we came to find our psychologist, who is our friend, who cares for us deeply.
Thank you for that. Is there, before I have another question, is there other, might there be someone in the chat in the room that might want to share or share your experience or pose a question or a thought? And the tech team can help me see. Pamela Bethea.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you, Sister Davis, for sharing that. That's heavy. It's very heavy. I put in the chat that you have had a therapist for like 20 years, which is encouraging to me. I don't have one, but it's encouraging to me that you don't have to have in your mind that you should have one for a particular time. And the other thing that I put in, I know I have tried, I did have one, but my insurance, she wouldn't take the insurance. The insurance didn't pay, the insurance wouldn't pay her. I had to pay part, and that became very costly for me. I also put in the chat that I have trust issues. I realize that I have that, and I acknowledge that. And so, it would have to be someone that I felt very comfortable, which you did address that, very comfortable with. And so I'm not gonna give up. I won't quit then, in terms of trying to find someone. But I was thinking, well, I'm just gonna not even bother because I can't find anyone. I'm not getting any referrals from anyone. And it's not necessarily a clergy that can help me, per se. So it would be so good if we as African Americans could share, if we had experiences with good therapists to, put that out there, that those who don't even know which way to go for therapists would at least have some kind of list. You might could put that even in your next book, but just but it would be good to have some kind of reference like that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I agree with you. I go back to the two words, don't quit. Don't quit. Don't give up. There is someone for you, or it may be two people for you. I tried with our reverend when my mother died, and I talked to my father. But again, I'm a heavy feeler. It just didn't feel right. So I didn't. I couldn't pursue that. Friends and family was okay, but I've always been a bit of a loner. But after losing both of my children, and my husband said, we've got to talk to someone. But how do you find that right person? And thank you. I will write a chapter on that in this book that I'm in my sequel. I will write a chapter on it. But we have a phenomenal personalized care physician. He is another friend. He cares for us so much. We've been with him for 20 plus years. And so when I called him, it's personalized care. You go in for your yearly physical. You sit down, he crosses his legs, and there an hour later, you're still there. He's talking to you, and he's everything, your life. But he said, okay, I will give you these three names. And from those three names came the psychologists that we're with today. Maybe we were just lucky. I believe we were. But I will write a chapter on this because I don't want you to give up. I think it's so important to find the right person to talk to, because that can be so very helpful. It can be so very helpful.
Thank you for sharing that experience. Might there be another? As you're about to come in and ask your question or pose your thought to Miss Davis, but also to everyone in the room, as we have experienced the transitions in our lives, be they expected or unexpected, be they friends, family, acquaintance, and when we have found ourselves in that place, in that state of disbelief or sadness or overwhelming, the veil of grief. Here's a question that I want to pose that someone put up in the chat or to the text. They said, what strength or what strengths have shown up in you that you didn't expect? Does that make sense? That maybe you've had to lean or rely upon a newfound strength or strength that you probably had not thought about or used. What have you gained? Have you gained anything from grief? Let me turn it around a little bit. What do we gain from grief? Or do we gain from grief? Not just to you, Madam Presenter, but also anyone in the room that wants to share a bit. But sometimes we look at things as a way of deficit versus it being an asset.
Sister Wright,
Does that make any kind of sense?
I believe it does. When we lost Scotty, we attended a church in Mill Valley, California. The name of the church is Church of Our Savior. And of course, Scotty's body was never found. And we went to church, and I remember sitting there, and Father was sitting next to me. And I said to him, I am never going to smile again. And he sat with me for a moment, and he put his hand on my shoulder. And his words were, oh, most certainly so. And I've carried those words with me. And I think what I've gained from this is strength. Strength prayer, having a husband that is so supportive. Sometimes I probably shouldn't share this, but I'll wake him up in the middle of the night. Oh, I've got an idea for my book, and he'll go, "Okay, okay." He's always there for me, but strength, physical fitness, um, being able to talk to Taj, communicating with your children is so important. Letting him know how much we love him, and we were very honest with Taj about his mother. There was no secret. She was an addict. I had to learn to forgive myself because I did something wrong as a mother. I wanted to be a mother more than anything in life. And how, what turn did it take that it didn't go the right way for them to be with me today? But somehow it was God's will, and for me to go forward and try to share with you, because you must not quit. You must go forward. And so we communicate with our kids. We share with them. We're honest. We tell the truth. You're going to have arguments. You're going to have disagreements. But that's what I give to you.
Thank you for the raw candor you shared with us. It's tough. It's not easy. Sometimes it seems it is, but it's not all the ways. But the fact that you have been raw and real with us, it's a great point. And as we have these conversations about grief, again, it is not a straight edge, as you said when you first started. It is not a straight road. It is twists and turns, back steps and forward steps. And thank you for sharing. Is there anyone in the room, in the Zoom space, that wants to share or comment or give your response or your reaction? This is
Hello.
not a yes, is that Ron?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Davis, come on
Uh,
in.
First of all, thank you, and what a just a great opportunity. And I am just so blessed, and I use that to be married to this wonderful woman who has helped not only me and other families through this journey. And I call it a journey when you're facing the valley of the shadow of death, and God is with you. When you're facing tragedy and trauma, it's good to know that there are people, your church, but others also to surround yourself with. And one of the things I found too, and this is why her book is so important, I think, is truth. How do we find the truth in the situation? We find that truth, sometimes it's painful, sometimes it gets to us emotionally, but sometimes it also can free us from the burdens of regret, from the burdens of things that happen. And you share that truth, as Diane is doing very well, with others. And then it elevates, again, that's another side of the
Mm,
victory. It elevates the experience of going through and sharing and connecting with people who are going through the same thing that you are going through. And that's why this uh, very good event is timely for us
mm,
all, because we don't know the 3 o'clock in the morning what calls you get at
right.
2 o'clock in the morning, the pain that you might have, and the loss that you have to suffer. We don't know when that's going to happen, but God is there with us. But also, we need people to connect with people who have a truth that they're willing to share. And a lot of times, stigma, the word stigma, it gets to us when we have mental health issues and other issues. So we're less apt to share that truth. And I'm just so thankful that Diane, who became a writer about 4 or 5 years ago, was able to articulate a passion and a truth through her lens. Because everybody has a different lens when it comes to grief. Everybody has a different experience. And believe it or not, there's somebody on the phone right now who hopefully will get another level of thought about their own strength that they call on during these times, whether it's a faith, whether it's a person, uh, whether it's an acquaintance, whether it's a family member that
Mm.
they can talk to. So God is blessing us with the element of truth in our lives, and I think that that also takes us to another level.
Okay. Thank you for sharing so much. And you are a partner in this, and so I appreciate your coming in and sharing. Thank you so much. And in this room right here today, we have again all of us who have experienced it, but there are also groups of people who can help. There are also clinicians. You know, Ashley shared with me, one of our tech team people, some of the thoughts as a clinician from that stance. Ashley, share the comment that you just sent, please, if you will. That will be good for all of us to hear and to remember.
Hello, everyone. I am Ashley Blakely. I have a master's degree in social work, and so I do acknowledge the information that has been shared in this room, and I thank the presenter and everyone for being so transparent in your journey, where you came from, what you have done to navigate this space, and the places that you see yourself going in the future. I do want to acknowledge a couple of things and just uplift this again because it has been shared. But I do think it's very important that we keep these things at the forefront of our minds. And the just three things I want to share. One, I want everybody to continue to monitor your process and to not get succumb to grief. Sometimes we think that if we just move in silence and we don't say anything, that's going to heal us. And for some people, that may, but not for everyone. As we have shared before, you have to monitor where you are because sometimes grief will overcome us and will stifle us to the point where we will stop moving, we will stop living, we will stop going out, we will feel guilty for smiling on a day. We'll feel guilty that we missed the anniversary. If anybody knows, I lost my mother and sister and a couple of people that was very important in my life. And I called that first year the year of the first. The first day you miss don't have Mother's Day with them or Father's Day, the first Christmas, the first birthday, the first whatever, that year of the first becomes very hard because you are remembering them in their light, in their glory, but also remembering the fact that they're no longer with us. And I chose that point to not celebrate it with others. I just locked myself in my room. I didn't do anything. And then I realized that every year I was pushing myself to say, okay, that my mother's birthday is coming up. I can't do anything because I'm going to be sad that day. And I was preparing myself to be in grief. And I want you to not succumb yourself to grief, but celebrate them in the times that we did have with them, the times that we did share with them, the things that they, even in their short life or their long life, that they did share with us. Find a way to honor and celebrate them. Do not be silent. Do not let your grief overcome you. Do not feel guilty for living because they want you to live. They want you to live a full, healthy life. And you cannot do that by being in silence, which brings me to my second point. I love the fact that we had good grief for all of these different weeks because we were able to support each other. You didn't understand that you were really joining a support group where everybody was sharing and everybody was, expressing their ideas and how they overcome. That's what this is. And when this is over, do not let this be the last time that you talk with someone. Join a support group, seek counseling, or talk to someone that you trust. And even be careful. I always tell people that even counselors need counseling. Even even sometimes even our spiritual realm, we need counseling as well. You want to make sure that you have somebody that can guide you through this, because even our trusted friends who sometimes we know that will hold us up and will give us and share our secrets, sometimes they don't have the tools that we need to help us navigate to the next place that we need to be in our life. So even with your trusted friend, if you feel like you're not progressing where you need to go, don't feel afraid to reach out to a spiritual advisor, a counselor, or join a support group. Those things are designed to help you, designed to help you. And even if you can't find one, create your own. Create your own. There might be a people around you that you guys can navigate those things together. And again, we are just thankful for this space that we've had so far because it has helped us to identify the things that we need. And then my final thing is that remember, healing is not forgetting. Healing is not forgetting. All it is now integrating into what you call your new norm. Okay. The new norm of not being with that person or having that person in your life. You're just integrating that into where you are right now. So do not feel bad for seeking healing because that is a process that we all have to do in order to, again, live that healthy, long life that we are given and that God has given to us. Remember, there's so much more that is designed for you. There's so much more in your purpose here on earth. And we are going to honor those people that we love so dearly by living that full life. I hope that was helpful to you all. Thank you, Dola Wright, for this time in this moment.
And thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, Ashley. I just have to thank you so very much. And I so agree with you about celebrating the life of ones that you have lost. We celebrate Shemaine's birthday. We celebrate Scotty's birthday. We celebrate my parents. We just had flowers put in our church this past Sunday for in memory of our daughter. So we don't have to suffer in silence. We have to go forward. Keep the faith. Don't quit. And know that God is with us.
Thank you, Ashley. And that was a good way to end and to wrap up the segment. These last three sessions, as has been said, have been powerful. They have been informative. They have let us all know that we are more alike than we are different. And we have some commonalities, but we also have found in this room some common strength, some uncommon strength, some favor from an almighty God. So I would say as we close out, to keep the faith, stay strong, talk to a neighbor, to a friend, know that you're not alone, know that grief comes to each of us individually in different ways, and the way that we navigate through it will be as individual as the grains of sand are on the beach.